We are back and we're going to look at what's called the law of sines. We use the law of sines if none of the angles of a triangle is a right angle, because you remember last section, all we had were right angles. Well, what if you have something that is an oblique? Nice word, huh? So you either have all these cute little acute angles, or you have two acute and one big boy. He didn't work out. And so how do you solve for angles and sides when you don't have a right triangle? I'm so happy you asked, because we're going to see. So to solve this, we need to figure out how we can find the lengths of the sides and the measure of the angles. When we label this, you kind of saw me do this in the last section, that it doesn't matter which is angle A. This could be angle A. It's just that what's opposite the side is labeled with the same letter, okay, lowercase. So here are the four cases of what could happen. One side and two angles are known. So one side, two angles, one side, two angles. Two sides and the angle opposite of them, okay, or opposite one of them. So this would be case two. Then case three, two sides and the angle between them. And then case four, side, side, side. We're only going to do cases 1 and 2 in this section, but then law of cosines, we'll use 3 and 4. So what are the law of sines? They're just simply setting up these ratios equal to each other, that the ratio of sine of angle A over side A equals sine of angle B over side B equals sine angle C over C. So you will see, how many times I can say C, that these are just based off of doing a bunch of algebra, figuring out what you need, what you got, what it looked like, what it is, and all that good stuff. So let's do all that good stuff. So let's get some colors going on here. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to start labeling my triangle. So let's call this A equals 40 degrees. The side opposite 4. We'll call this one right here B equals 60 degrees, so the side opposite little b. Then this is angle C and side C. When it says solve the triangle, that means to solve everything that's missing. So that's what? Big C, little b, and little c. So that's what we're going to solve for. The first one, probably the easiest one to solve for, is big C, because remember that a triangle, all three angles have to add to 180 degrees, right? So 40 plus 60 plus C equals 180, and it looks like C would be 80 degrees. So check, got that one done. All right, now if I want to find little b, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick something that I already know both values. I wouldn't pick, typically you don't want to use an angle that you calculated, and I remember mentioning this before, because what if you made a mistake? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the angle that's always given to me whenever I can. And setting up that proportion up there, I will have sine of A, 40 degrees, over little a. So all of that was given. And then sine of B, which was given. And now I simply can do algebra and solve for little b. So in this case, little b equals 4 sine 60 degrees, and please, when you put this in your calculator, be sure you're in what mode? Degree. Good answer. And so you should get something like 5.39. 5.39. All right, so now I need little c, so I know I'm going to have the sine of the angle C. And then once again, let's just use my A, because this information was given to me, and I can solve for little c for sine of 80 over sine of 40, and in your calculator you should get 6.13, and so we done. All right, we got everything. And again, so the hardest part is trying to figure out, well, where to start. What, you know, if you have two angles, it's always easy to find the other angle. So what if you don't have two angles? I don't know, let's see. So in this case, I have an angle A, which is 40 degrees. I don't have angle B, I have side B. I have little a, side A. I don't have angle C, and I don't have little c. So what do I do? Well, if I have two of one thing, meaning the side A and angle A, then I can plug this one in and find my angle B. So in other words, I have the sine of A, which is 40 degrees, over A, which is 3, sine of B, which I don't know, I'm trying to find, over B. So now this becomes 2 sine 40 degrees over 3. And do you remember how to solve that for B? Sure you do, right? You remember. You take sine inverse. So sine inverse, and while you're just sitting there staring at the screen going, you should definitely put these numbers in your calculator, because one, I could be wrong. Yeah, that's funny, right? But also to be sure when you get in there and take the test, you remember things like, you know, when to be in degree mode and all that good stuff. All right, and you should get 25.4 degrees. So now I can find big C, because my big C is going to be 180 minus A minus B that I just found. And you should get 114.6 degrees. So we got this, 114.6. We got this, 25.4. So it looks like I need little c. So that means I'm going to have to use my angle C. So let's use sine of A over A equals sine of C over little c. And that's what I'm solving for. So doing all that crazy stuff that all the hip kids are doing, the algebra, right? Is you put all this in your calculator, sine of 40, and you should get 4.24 for little c. All right, so as you can see, these aren't that difficult. I mean, you got to be able to do algebra, right? But the big thing is figuring out whenever you have two of something, so the two sides here, okay, certainly the angle is going to match, because remember we said it's the angle across, right across. And so in this case, if you have a side and the angle, you know you're going to use sine of A over A because you're given both of those. So we will continuing on.